A special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2026, beginning at 5:30 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than is shown on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted upon at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Number 1, call the meeting to order. I've done so at 5:31 p.m. Number 2, a moment of silence. Thank you. Number 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is public comments.
Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenisd.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenisd.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
We have 3 people signed up for public comments tonight, and the first one is Celeste Lopez.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Gutierrez, thank you for your time. I'm here to add a middle school perspective that builds on what my librarian colleagues have already shared. Quick intro, my name is Celeste Lopez, the proud librarian at De Leon. In 2022, I was honored to be named the McAllen ISD Elementary District Teacher of the Year, and in 2024, I was named the District Elementary Technology Teacher of the Year, both honors I received while serving as a librarian. I share these awards not to boast, but to show the instructional responsibility that I carry every single day, as well as my librarian colleagues. That responsibility aligns directly with the TRA definition of a classroom teacher, which is why exclusion from TRA allotments creates a disheartening inequity. Before becoming a librarian, I spent 18 years as a classroom reading teacher, which means I carry deep knowledge of the TEKS, curriculum design, and student learning needs. That experience shapes every single thing I do in the library and why the TRA definition matters to us. On a typical day, I directly teach TEKS-aligned lessons for 5 to 6 classes in a myriad of subjects. I plan with teachers to design and deliver instruction. I integrate educational technologies so that students who enter my library create podcasts, multimedia projects, and digital projects that deepen understanding. Of course, we manage multiple campus operations and after-school clubs, and in addition, we work our 10 extra contract days beyond the teacher calendar to maintain these resources. We plan instruction and to run programs that extend learning beyond the classroom walls. We do this because we are passionate about student learning. We're passionate about our jobs. We are the librarians of yesteryear no longer. We are what I like to call 21st century tech-brarians, and our compensation should reflect the instructional and campus-wide impact that we provide. I respectfully ask the board to reconsider our TRA classification. Thank you, board members, for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. The next speaker is Cindy Tijerina.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Gutierrez. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Cindy Tijerina. I'm the librarian at McAllen High School. I've been a librarian 13 of my 21 years here in McAllen ISD. First, I want to express my appreciation for the district's commitment into supporting all the employees and recognizing the hard work of educators. Last year, teachers received a well-deserved $5,000 salary increase. However, librarians were not included in that adjustment, despite serving in instructional roles that directly support student achievement and learning. School librarians are certified educators. We hold the teaching certificates. We have earned master's degrees in library sciences. And every day we teach research skills, digital literacy, information evaluation, technology integration. I can just go on and on of the things that I teach every day, whether it's one student or 20 at a time in my high school library. As a result of last year's raise structure, some employees in similar capacities are now earning more than we are as librarians. This has created a paid disparity that many believe should be addressed. With the rising costs of living, and we all feel them every single day, we feel that this increase is desperately needed. Being left out left us feeling a little unappreciated for the work that we do in our schools, especially after surrounding districts did include their librarians in that $5,000 raise. We're not asking for special treatment. We're simply asking for equitable compensation that recognizes our qualifications, our responsibilities, our contributions to our students every day in our schools. Adjusting librarian salaries to at least match the compensation of what our co-counterparts teachers get feels right at this time. So we're just asking you to please reconsider, where we are. We know that we did move into a different category, but I feel like we still belong in the instructional domain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tijerina. And our last speaker is Natasha Gonzalez.
Hello, my name is Natasha Gonzalez, and I'm here today to voice my opinion on the hiring process for the head coach of McAllen Memorial boys basketball team. My goal here today is to persuade the board to delay the hiring of the current candidate to allow more time for other candidates to apply. What's the rush? I am a concerned parent whose child will eventually attend McAllen Memorial High School and, God willing, join the basketball team. In this way, he would follow his big brother's footsteps. My oldest son, Papito Gonzalez, was the starting point guard for McAllen Memorial 2011-2013. Therefore, our family has strong ties to the McAllen sports community and a personal interest in hiring the best candidate possible. So when we heard of a coach that was from the neighboring district that was being considered, we reviewed his record as a basketball coach. Since 2022, his program has finished last in the district. And out of 119 games, he only had 41 wins. That put his winning percentage at 39%. With that being said, that would be considered a failing grade. To reframe this, what if we were trying to hire the head football coach and ask any AD at any of the local high schools, with this record, would you hire this particular candidate? Probably the answer would be no, unless the candidate brought some intangibles. What is even more eye-opening is at the end of his last season, this candidate was reassigned, meaning he's no longer a basketball coach. So if wins don't matter, shouldn't the intangibles have helped him to remain a coach? If so, why would we reward poor performance by giving him an awesome job at McAllen Memorial? This begs the question, what is our hiring process? How long was a job posted? Where was it posted? Was it posted statewide? And if there was a few candidates, why is only this one being considered? And how was that determined? And what are the deciding factors for hiring? McAllen ISD is supposed to be the flagship of the RGV, and we should select the best candidate. Our boys deserve a quality coach, not someone who's convenient. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. That takes us to number 5, recognitions. And 5A, recognition of the 2025-2026 University of Texas Rio Grande Valley teacher residents. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President, Board of Trustees, tonight we're recognizing the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley teacher residents that served in our campuses throughout the district in the 25-26 school year. Ms. Olga Mendez, our Director for Human Resources, will have more information, and this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Mendez?
Yes. Good evening, President Regalado, Dr. Gutierrez, and Board of Trustees. This evening, we are pleased to recognize the UTRGV teacher residents who completed their residency experience at Alvarez, Hendricks, Perez, and Thigpen Zavala elementary schools during the 2025-2026 school year. These residents were selected through a highly competitive process from more than 100 applicants. Of the 20 residents, 12 have earned full teacher certification, 3 will begin pursuing a master's degree in education this fall, and 8 are completing their remaining certification requirements this summer. Their service has made a meaningful impact on our students and campuses, and we commend them for their commitment to the teaching profession. I would like to recognize some very special individuals, and if you would stand as you are recognized, we would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the UTRGV Teacher Residency Site Coordinators, Ms. Patricia Buhaider and Christina Rangel, as well as our McAllen ISD mentor teachers that are joining us as well. Thank you, mentor teachers. You may stand and be recognized if you are a mentor teacher. Thank you so much. We are truly, truly grateful for your mentorship this year. As well, I would like to recognize Maria Lopez, Teacher Residency Program Coordinator, and Mr. Oliver Lozano, Program Manager from UTRGV Teacher Residency Program. In addition, special thanks to principals, right here to my left, Ms. Melissa Lara, Monica Garza, Veronica Delgado, and Marisela Chapa for their leadership, support, and commitment to the success of this partnership. Thank you so much. Thank you, principals. In addition, we would like to thank Dr. Cynthia Olivares, Director of State and Federal Programs, for her support and helping fund this program, and also Ms. Laura Williams, Director of Purchasing, for her support as well. We'd also like to thank the support of Dr. Connie Camacho, our HR Director, and of course, our Chief HR Dr. Canales as well. Finally, we extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Rene Gutierrez and the Board of Trustees for supporting the UTRGV Teacher Residency Program and helping us build a strong and sustainable teacher pipeline for McAllen ISD. We are grateful for our continued collaboration with UTRGV and look forward to another successful year in 2026-2027. Thank you.
I believe this takes
And
us.
now we'll invite the, would you like to read it first, or do you want to come forward for the?
Oh, we can go forward.
Okay. So we'll bring the board and Dr. Gutierrez forward, and we'll invite in our student. Thank you so much. And our first student from Alvarez, Alessandra De Leon. Also from Alvarez, Marissa Segovia Garza. And at Alvarez, Emily Arroyo. At Alvarez, Lilibeth Mercado. At Alvarez, Perla Martinez. At Hendricks, Belinda Gutierrez Cáceres. At Hendricks, Diana Martinez. At Hendricks, Kimberly Mondragon. At Hendricks, Juliana Torres. At Hendricks, Ruth Vega. At Pettis, Janeth Alba. At Pettis, Stephanie Pettis Medellin. At Pettis, Jocelyn Ambris Hernandez. At Pettis, Brianna Montenegro. At Pettis, Jimena Carrillo. At Thigpen Zavala, Jocelyn Alanis. Thigpen Zavala, Griselda Hernandez Bocanegra. Thigpen Zavala, Ilamar Guerrero. And Thigpen Zavala, Christina Rangel.
Ms. Blue Hyder, would you, Dr. Rendell, like to join you?
Any UTRGV representatives? Tiptoes if you need to. How's that? That's fine. Okay.
All right, guys, right here, this camera on 3, 1, 2, 3. Take a couple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Mom and Dad.
Law school.
Wait, who said that? Oh,
Where's the party?
right here.
Oh.
I guess on behalf of UTRGV, our dean, our director, Dr. Amadi, we want to just thank you, McAllen ISD, for being a very strong partner. We appreciate the support, appreciate the guidance, and I will say this, all the principals, HR, faculty, I mean, honestly, everybody, we just come together for one mission, help students be successful, and hopefully be your future teachers in your campuses. So thank you. She was actually my first grade teacher, so Ms. Delgado, I appreciate people like her. Yes. So I remember. So McAllen ISD, I was at one point McAllen ISD, so I don't know, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for your efforts, yeah. Okay, that brings us to item number 6, consent agenda items A through F.
Madam President, I move to approve items 6A through F.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera. Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Sofia Peña. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Okay, the motion passes 7-0. That takes us to,
Madam President, I'll entertain, I'm sorry. I propose a motion to reorganize the agenda to move 7B1 up to next consideration.
okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Rivera, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same. Motion carries 7-0, and we are now at 7B1. Discussion and possible action regarding James Nicky Rowe High School softball booster donation of JV and varsity softball lockers. Dr. Gutierrez.
The James Nicky Rowe High School Softball Booster Club is proud to donate new lockers for the JV and varsity softball locker room facilities to provide a lasting benefit for our student athletes and the campus community. We have our head softball coach, Ms. Aisa Hinojosa, and administration is recommending action on this item. Is Ms. Hinojosa here? Can you? Yes. Would you like to say anything on this in regards to this donation and the boosters? Who are the booster parents? Can you please stand so we can recognize you?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank our Booster Club and our community for helping us fundraise and go through the process of generating enough funds to be able to provide something like this for our softball program. It's truly a blessing, and I think it's going to be very, one of the things that our athletes that we currently have and the athletes that we have coming in, it's going to be something they look forward to. It's going to be really something very nice, and not just nice, but something very useful compared with the facilities and the upgrades that we're trying to do. And so we truly appreciate our community and our Booster Club for stepping up and doing this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this item is for action.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the donation for the JV and varsity softball lockers.
Motion by trustee Guardian. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Dirbeta. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you all again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then we return to item number 7, instructional services, instructional leadership, human resources, business and operations, and Board of Trustees items. Item number 7A, instructional services, instructional leadership items. A1 is report regarding pre-kindergarten instructional efforts and student outcomes. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Ms. Jeanette Nino, Associate Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, will report on pre-kindergarten instructional efforts and student outcomes. And this item is for information purposes only. But Ms. Nino, can you go ahead and introduce our speakers?
Absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity for us to just spotlight our entire pre-K team this evening. And we do have representatives. We have Ms. Judy Precup for our pre-K teacher, Jackson Elementary. Ms. Sandra Martinez, pre-K teacher at Pettis Elementary, and Mr. Juan Lopez, pre-K teacher at Wilson Elementary. And joining us alongside is their principals, Ms. Erica Salinas, Jackson principal, Ms. Veronica Delgado, principal at Pettis Elementary, and Ms. Rebecca Echazareta, our principal at Wilson. So thank you all for being here, even on the last day of school. Excited to just share all the hard work that starts in pre-kindergarten. And Ms. Canales, go ahead.
Good evening, Board President Regalado, trustees, and Dr. Gutierrez. This evening, we are pleased to share highlights of our pre-kindergarten program, including the importance of early learning, student progress in early literacy and early math, and continued efforts to support our pre-K learners. I will begin by sharing why early learning matters. The early years are critical because they set the trajectory for academic success. During pre-K, children develop language, communication, early number concepts, and phonological awareness skills that help support later academic growth. Phonological awareness skills are especially important in pre-K because they help with helping children hear and manipulate sounds in spoken language, helping them with a foundation, building that foundation for future reading success. Students also build confidence, social-emotional skills, which help them engage successfully in school. Pre-K lays a foundation for future learning and lays a foundation for kindergarten readiness. Building on that foundation, I'd like to now share our pre-K data. So this slide here highlights district-wide pre-K data in early literacy and early math from beginning of year to end of year. Overall, student performance improved across both domains, and our end-of-year results exceeded district target goals. In early literacy, the combined total increased from 60% at beginning of the year to 81% at the end of the year, surpassing the district goal of 66%. We also saw a decrease in students needing additional support, dropping from 30% at beginning of the year to 10% at end of year. In early math, the combined total increased from 75% at beginning of year to 90% at end of year, exceeding the district goal of 72%. Students needing additional support also decreased from 14% at beginning of the year to 6% at the end of the year. These results reflect the impact of intentional instruction, targeted intervention, and ongoing progress monitoring. While we celebrate this growth, we remain committed to continuing differentiated support and intervention to ensure all students continue progressing. To support a successful transition into the new school year, we will offer upcoming pre-kinder camp on August 13, 2026. We do invite all pre-kinder students to join us for this valuable opportunity before the new school year begins. Pre-kinder camp gives students an early preview of school, allowing them to become familiar with the classroom environment, routines, teachers, and expectations. Students participate in fun, engaging activities and build confidence, support social-emotional comfort, foster positive relationships, and create excitement for the start of the new school year. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to put a shine on pre-K. I would like to share with you about our high-quality instruction in the pre-K classroom, which encompasses a variety of things. First, strong routines that support engagement and independence, explicit and systematic instruction in key learning skills, oral language and vocabulary development, as Mrs. Canales shared earlier, the manipulation of sounds to put them together to form words supports this in our classroom. We also build the social emotional skills, and those are embedded daily through all core subjects. And we have play-based learning that promotes curiosity and problem solving, which is key for our littles that come in for the first time into an education classroom and being socialized with other students to learn to be able to problem solve and figure things out on their own. And this happens through play-based learning. And this occurs through hands-on learning experiences across the day in all core subjects. And some examples that I would like to share from my classroom that we target this through whole group instruction, first and foremost, that is through our curriculum that we focus on during the summer and make it accessible to all teachers. And then we do differentiated instruction through our small group. In our whole group, though, we do our morning routine, which encompasses the Heggerty that hits our foundational skills, that is spiraled through all core subjects, and it's oral throughout the day. So there's a lot of talking, and we expect that from our students to us. That's how they build their confidence. And they do letter review, letter sounds. Some examples that you see on there are our onset rhyme practice. And in small groups, you see some of my students there. They're blending practice. They're doing their rhyming. From blending, they get to put those sounds together, make their own words. And if you were to see those students try to read their own words, at, and then that face that just lights up, that's why I am still in pre-K. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Martinez. I'm from Dr. Pablo Perez Elementary. And I'm going to talk to you about how we build early literacy and early math foundations in pre-K. Phonological awareness builds early literacy foundations. Some of the skills we work in pre-K are rhyming, where students identify if two words rhyme and if they generate rhyming words, alliteration, where students target letter names and sounds. They identify beginning sounds and if words begin with the same sound or letter. Sentence segmentation, where students break spoken sentences into individual words and count the words in a sentence. Syllables, where students break words into parts. And onset and rhyme, where students separate the initial consonant or blend from the rest of the word. We also do number sense activities to support early math readiness. For that, students get to rote count to at least 30. They do a one-to-one correspondence. They represent numbers. They compare sets using the words more than, less than, or the same. They order numbers and sets in sequence. They identify, name, and describe 2D and 3D shapes. They recognize and compare objects by size, weight, capacity. They sort and classify objects by attributes like color, shape, or size. They identify, reproduce, and create patterns, and they solve addition and subtraction problems. We also do vocabulary and oral language to train comprehension. For that, during read-alouds, we engage students to participate by naming the parts of the book, for example, the front cover, the back cover, the spine of the book, the title, the name of the author, the name of the illustrator, and what they do. Students get to predict what might happen next in the story. They go over story elements, where students identify and name characters of the story, the setting, the plot. We go over what happened at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story, and students get to retell the story. Students also answer questions about the story using think, turn, and talk discussions. And in pre-K, we do ongoing assessment, which help us monitor progress. For that, we use the circle test. We assess 3 times a year for the beginning, middle, and end of the year. And we use the data to differentiate instruction to meet students' needs. And these are some pictures from my classroom where you can see small group centers where students are doing math, they're doing numbers, and they're doing rhyming, sentence segmentation, the syllables, and the alliteration. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mr. Lopez, Wilson Elementary, and I'll be talking a little bit about the target support. So in my classroom and their classrooms, just to add a little bit more, we have groups that we create depending on how the children perform in BOY, which is beginning of the year assessment. And so if we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So the slide on the picture on the right left, you'll see the purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Those are my groups from this past year. So I had 22 children. Out of the 22 children, the red and the orange groups are the Spanish speakers. So language of instruction was in Spanish. The others were in English. And so what small groups do is they help me to create flexibility and support for the children, all children who need it. So for example, in the middle picture, that was one of my students, Kenzo, and he's in the purple group, and so he was already writing and words in a sentence. So he was able to write those little post-its that you see. Those are different words that create a sentence, right? So he first drew the picture, then he's writing. He needed that support. Then on the right, you see Kevin's work where he's actually decoding a word, and I'm helping him write those words. Then on the left is Hazel, and another great thing that happens during this small group instruction is I'm able to work with 3 or 4 children and take a quick snapshot of them and send it to mom during conference time. You know, Hazel knows these letters, she needs help with these letters, and then she'll be like, what can I do? So then I send her a little activity home. So that also builds rapport with the parents. Then on the middle part, picture of Kaylee, she is really in the blue group, but there are times when Kaylee chooses, she's unable or unwilling to participate with her small group. So when I'm done with the 3, then I bring her in and she's able to learn with me for about 10 minutes, then off she goes. So on the right side, that's the smart board, and that's Catalina's drawing and writing, and so you could see that with that, that's really one of the outcomes that we like to see as pre-K teachers, where they're already not only illustrating, but they're actually creating words from what they're learning in the classroom. And so small groups is the hamburger, is the meat of the hamburger. And small groups, when we do small groups, we're basically seasoning the meat. And this is worth gold because it allows us to really bond with the children, connect with the children, and also build rapport with parents. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Echazareta. I'm the principal at Wilson Elementary. And so they asked us to speak to you all as far as what does an administrator do to support pre-K? And so the biggest thing is to make data-driven instructional decisions. Mr. Lopez and the rest of the teachers did share that their groups are constantly changing based on the need of the students. So as an administrator, we need to make sure that we are removing all sorts of speed bumps that the teachers might have, ensuring that our teachers are properly trained to give this assessment, because it is a one-to-one assessment, which is quite lengthy. It has about, how many parts? More than 40, right? It's very lengthy. So we ensure that we provide the testing atmosphere for them. If they need a classroom, to ensure that they, pull out the student, it's quiet so that the student can concentrate and answer accurately, because if we have that, we have accurate data. If we have accurate data, we can make better instructional decisions for our students. As they had mentioned as well, just ensuring that our Tier 1 interventions are there to ensure that we are meeting the needs of the children, so that the students don't move on to have, to start the gaps in education, right? Research shows that the students, children from 3 to 6 are just sponges. And so if we can catch them that early, we're setting a strong foundational educational foundation, right, for our students, which in turn helps out the rest of the campus and moving forward. Because administrators know that we still have some students that are lacking a lot of the pre-K foundational skills. And so if we can really hit them hard at the beginning, we're set for success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes our presentation, but as we look at achievement data, particularly STAR in the upper grades, and we see instructional gaps and we work backwards, this is where it all begins. And so the work is very intentional. I appreciate this team representing all of our pre-K teachers across the district and our administrators. It's a lot of intentionality every single day, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Ms. Ino.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we move to 7A2, discussion and possible action on interlocal agreement number 2027-012, veterinary technician apprenticeship program with South Texas College. Dr. Gutierrez.
This agreement establishes that South Texas College will provide a veterinary technician apprenticeship training program for students. Mr. Leo Saenz, our Director for Career and Technical Education, is available to answer any questions. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Gutierrez. I come to you tonight to present you some information on the interlocal agreement that we're hoping you will approve tonight. This is something that we've already been working on this year, this current year that just ended today. We have 12 students that participated in an accelerated program. STC only really has 2 school districts that they're working with in this program, us and a neighboring district that we won't mention. But we're doing really good. We're focused this year mainly on the big animals, which are the ones that are farmed, the cows, the sheep, the goats, and the pigs. And then from there, that's what we did. So Mr. Denny is our teacher that has been approved through STC. And we did this program. From my understanding, several of the kids are still going to continue to get their 2,000 hours to be able to get into this and also earn college credit hours. So this program has been in place. We piloted it this year to make sure, and we're just asking for you to approve us to continue to do this program because we want to add the first component, which would be the smaller animal. Your cats and dogs that everybody's familiar with when they go to the vet, right? But a lot of people aren't familiar with the big animals, which is what we focused on this year because we didn't have that part, the facilities for the small animals this year. And we're looking to upgrade. Thankfully, we got that bond passed, and now we can actually start moving in that direction too with us to be able to move into some similar space that will allow us to do the small animal as well. So some of the highlights, again, this is a presentation that was there. One of the things that I want to bring to you is the benefits to the students, right? Of its obviously college credit opportunities, industry recognized apprenticeship program, exposure to those to veterinary and animal care careers, and development of technical and employable skills, of course, and then direct pathway to the high demand occupation. And then one of the other big ones is strategic value to McAllen ISD. Obviously, we expand our apprenticeship opportunities for our students. Super important that we do that. We get them that leg up on everybody else. Increase post-secondary credentials, strengthens the partnerships with our higher education partner, STC, and then supports workforce demands that are in the animal. One of the things that we are hearing is that a lot of our large animal vets are retiring. They're older folks. And so they need somebody to replace them. And not a lot of people are wanting to get into that particular part of it. They want to see all the smaller animals. So we're actually guiding them into this. And then enhances the student career readiness outcomes, of course. And it also helps us with CCMR and everything else that you can throw in there. Questions?
When they finish this program, how far along are they to be a certified vet tech?
We provide them a certification here through Elanco, which is through a company called ICEV. That's an industry-based certification that's approved through TEA. So that's already a leg up. This one allows them to get into that program that they're already in. This is through a different program, not through like a regular dual enrollment program. This is through a different program through Dr. Carlos Margo. And so what this does, it gives them that leg up and then they can continue. But it does afford them 2 different certifications that we already provide through pretty much all our students in this program. But it does allow them to start the process to get the one. The one they're really looking forward to is to that technician one, but that requires 2,000 hours. That's the big component of it. And so we're getting them a leg up with 192 hours already getting their foot in. One of my coordinators, Monica Peña, and Dr. Margot's assistant, or one of the people that work with him in his group, are also partnering up to go visit more and more of our vets so they can get them in there to do the volunteer/pay rate. So some of them are already getting paid.
That's great. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity.
Agreed.
We're recommending action on this item.
I just have one question real quick, because it says here that we're going to approve number 2027 or -012. Does it matter, John, as far as the actual agreement itself is 2027-1012?
Just amend the language to whatever the agreement number is that it's written on, just amend it when you make that motion.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's just missing one.
This is for action. Is there a motion?
Yes, I will move to approve the interlocal agreement number 2027-1012 veterinary technician apprenticeship program with South Texas College for a term of August 2026 through May 2027.
I have a motion by Trustee Rivera. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Haddad with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Okay, motion carries 7-0. We've already done 7B1. Thank you, Mr. Sines.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we are at 7B2. Discussion and possible action on the McAllen Independent School District Board Policy to amend Policy DEC Local, Compensation and Benefits, Leaves and Absences, Payment for Accumulated Leave Upon Retirement, second reading. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is recommending the amended change to policy DEC local when it comes to payment for accumulated leave upon retirement, that employees who retire under the Texas Retirement System of Texas, TRS, or any other retirement system also be eligible for payment. Administration is recommending action on this item, and so this is the second reading to finalize this policy.
Yes, that's correct.
Does any of trustee have any questions or comments on the second reading?
Move to approve.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
have one question. Can the employee also submit additional documentation if admin submits documentation? Like through the process?
Like on the retirement side?
Hold on, I might be
I
on
think
the
you might be on the other policy.
Sorry,
I think.
wrong policy.
Are you-
No question.
Okay. And I believe Trustee Haddad, you were,
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Trustee Haddad and a second by
I'll second.
Trustee Carrion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
This is the one.
And that takes us to 7B3. Discussion of MISD policy DGBA local, personnel management relations, employee complaints and grievances, first reading. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is presenting this policy as a first reading to allow Board of Trustees the opportunity to propose policy updates to policy DGBA local. Our goal is to provide clarification regarding grievance procedures, timelines, levels of review, and employee rights through the complaint resolution process. This item is for information purposes only because we're discussing the first reading of this possible amendment to DGBA local.
Yes, so right now, what we have, Dr. Gutierrez, under page 2, deadlines and extensions, we're just adding that the superintendent or administration provides documents to the agreement, and the superintendent or administration intends to rely on, at the level 3 hearing less than 5 calendar days before the level 3 hearing, the agreement shall be entitled to a reset of the level 3 hearing upon the request to a date and time mutually agreed upon. And then again, on the last page, we do have another recommendation, and this is more assignment of the hearing officer. So at the level 3 hearing, the hearing officer shall be responsible for ensuring a recording of the hearing is made. Thereafter, human resources shall be responsible for maintaining the level 3 recording.
Dr. Canales, do you have the ability to put it up on the screen? Because I think what was included in our packet did not have the changes that you just read out.
Yes, let me get that for you.
It's a highlighted, the change that, the add-on change. We don't have it in color. Is it?
I think it was on the packet, SharePoint.
I was just curious if we had it to display because the people in the public or anybody watching won't be able to see that.
page 2. So that's the first part there that's located on page, I believe it's page 2 of 7.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on this part?
No, I think it makes a clarification to ensure that if, if we amend the record or include a lot more additional information in the record, grievance shall have a minimum of 5 days. Otherwise, they can request a reset.
The only thing I want to say about this is that as long as both parties are submitting within those 5 days, but at the level 3, we should not be introducing any new documents. If we're going to follow that those 5 days that we have advance notice to submit all documents, and at the level 3, no new documents can be introduced anymore because this policy is telling everyone that everything has to submit it within 5 days prior to the level 3 hearing. Because that's the way it should be.
Correct.
Yeah, all level 3s, no documents are supposed to be submitting at the time of the hearing. It should be done now. In this case, instead of 3 days, it's 5 days, and we're fine with that. And that's the way it's supposed to be, and nothing else is introduced at the level 3 hearing because we're not. This is the policy that we're going to follow now.
But the policy, the language says if the superintendent or administration provides documents. It's not talking about the grievant.
But it's both parties.
Yeah, we could add,
I only read it
just
one
say,
way.
Well, that was my question, I guess. If we add documentation on our end, does it allow room for the grievant also to?
they can't, everything should be submitted when it's a level 1 at the level 1, level 2 at the level 2, and then nothing new at the level 3.
applies to the district.
Same to the district, that's correct.
Both parties.
Okay.
Well, that's not the way
Well,
I read
that's-
this. And
yeah, I don't
also,
read
if a grievant wants to provide rebuttal information, I don't see that as a problem. But if we want to provide, the administration, well, we have the ability to request a reset anyway. I mean, the district does, correct?
Correct, but what we're saying is that at the level 3, no new documents should be submitted that either party has not had a chance to review. It should be within those 5 days.
If we're going to use the rebuttal analogy, and the only way that I know how to conceptualize that is in trial work, is that anything that is in rebuttal is not necessarily something that you disclose up front, because it is something that you answer in rebuttal to what somebody brought up in the actual hearing. So to the extent that that would cut both ways, in other words, if new information is brought out, new allegations are brought out, if administration needs to address those, that would be considered rebuttal. So it would, under this, it would tie our hands to not be able to say, here's the documentation to rebut what you're saying. I think what Dr. Gutierrez is saying is that to make it, or what he's requesting is to make it mutual, that if administration provides it within 5 days, there's a reset, or if the grievant provides it within those 5 days, to get a reset as well. I think that's what he's asking, is that it's a mutual,
Correct.
assured kind of thing, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Correct.
The way I read this, I guess I think I'm following what Trustee Haddad is saying. I think that the grievant should also be allowed to provide rebuttal evidence to whatever we provided, for instance.
100%, and I don't think there's any issue with that. The question, I guess, is what is the line of demarcation? And is it in response to what is brought up at the grievance? Can the grievant introduce new evidence there at the grievance? And if so, are we allowed to counter that at the hearing? So I'm not trying to be ticky-tack with this, but I think those are the issues that are coming up in the discussions that we were having as to how we work this out.
I read this to say 5 days before the hearing, so I don't think any of this part of the policy is contemplating during the hearing.
I completely agree.
Okay.
But I think that what it's also is taken into account is if the grievant were to try and come in and have documents because it is not uncommon for grievance to come in at these hearings in closed session and say, here are documents, whatever they might be, and pass them out to try and either supplement or to add additional issues that they want considered. I think what they're saying is that they would like us to be given the opportunity that if we review it and we think it's material and it's going to affect what we're going to argue, that we be allowed to say, well, we would like a reset as well so that we can address this, go back and either redevelop the record or have more information that we need to support our position. Or if it's documents that are conclusive and we want to change what the decision was at level 2, then we have an opportunity to go back and remedy it there. But for whatever it's worth, I think this is a good policy. I think saying if new documents are introduced, you get your 5 days, but I think that what administration is saying is that it should be a two-way street.
I'm reading this to say that the administration provided documents within the 5 days before the hearing.
Correct.
And now the grievant wants more time.
Correct.
But not a scenario where new documents are provided by either party during a grievance hearing. I think we're talking about two different scenarios.
Maybe, but then my concern is if me as the representative for administration, if we're in a grievance hearing, then if I say, well, I didn't provide them within 5 days, I'm just providing with the grievance. Or if the grievance says the same thing, well, I'm not providing these, I'm providing them now, I don't know what the dividing line is, and I don't know how to, I don't know how the hearing officer calls balls and strikes on that, as to what to allow in, not allow in.
Well,
Which is
I
not for me
mean,
to decide.
should we structure this more like, as you pointed out, though, like the rules of evidence? Whereas one party has administration would have a deadline by X days to provide whatever documentation it tends to rely on. Grievant has X days to respond, and then both parties have X days, and then the record's final before the hearing, something to that effect?
Perfectly happy with that, which is similar to a docket control order that says you get, these are your dates, you have them in, and that's it. But again, for anything that we provide the grievant, if they want more time, I want the grievant to have all the time that they want, and I have no issues with the resets. But what I'm also asking is that if documents are provided at the hearing, that if those are material and we need time to research it, that because you guys have seen how fast those things go, I can't be reading new documents, processing new questions, and presenting the PowerPoint and defending the administration's position at the same time.
I think that's fair.
Good.
Do we need to go back and just reword this a little better based on what we're talking about?
If there's a consensus that we want to have some sort of language in there that resembles the docket control order that says you get this date and this date, after that it's shut down, we can absolutely put in there language that says if the parties want by mutual agreement to reset, and I will tell you, for me, I'm never going to say no, not that it's my decision, but I would never object to somebody saying, I want more time. I'm not looking to play gotcha with anything. So if that is a framework you want to go with, I can certainly put that together.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, my point of view is the particular language we're looking at right now does not reflect sort of the nuance of this, and so I think I would need to see a rework of this section in order to feel confident about a second reading.
I can do that.
Okay, then we'll reword it and bring it back as a,
And really, it would be the same language, just to add companion language that administration more or less has a similar ability to ask for a reset, and that the deadlines are 5 days out from the hearing, and that's the extent of the modification. Am I hearing that correctly?
Can you say in the policy that no new document can be provided at the hearing, and that either party has to supply it 5 days before the hearing?
Of course. And that's what, I think that's what we're saying, just in a longer, more roundabout way. Grievant has 5 days to supply us with whatever they want us to have.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. I guess the question gets into what is new information versus what is supplementing the record. So in the instance of some of the employee grievances, if we're talking about somebody's employment file and we're addressing issues, is that supplementing the record, or are we introducing new information.
Well, I think
I think it depends
the way I
on-
read this is whatever, it's not making a distinction. It's whatever information you provide.
It's either, it's either.
Are you talking about what should be provided at all in the first place? What's admissible, so to speak?
Yes, but I guess I'm talking more about the deadlines themselves. And I think we're kind of getting further away from it than we need to be. But the issue is, if I'm following what Dr. Gutierrez is saying, to make it mutual, 5 days,
Correct.
unless by agreement of the parties, that there's a reset in that time frame, something along those lines.
Super simple, just like Trustee De La Garza said.
Okay.
Plain out.
We'll reward it like that.
But I
Okay.
want to make sure that's
That's good with me.
if you guys are okay with that language.
Okay.
I think that works.
Directionally right.
Then we'll bring it for a second reading and reward it.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
And then, Dr. Canales, would you pull up the second part of that, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, so this is a part on the assignment of the hearing officer. So at the level 3 hearing, the hearing officer shall be responsible for ensuring a recording of the hearing is made. Thereafter, human resources and shall be responsible for maintaining the level 3 hearing record. So we'll hold that in our office, put it in an envelope, date it, hold it, and then just seal it.
Yeah.
In case anybody needs to hear it, then we'll bring it back out
Okay.
and do it that way with signatures.
Okay.
Comments or questions on that?
No, I do have a comment more, and the question is whether we want to put this in policy or maybe just practice at grievances, is having the hearing officer lay out at the beginning of the hearing what the remedial options are for the Board of Trustees. So administration, the board, and the grievant are all on the same page of what the options are. I don't know if we need to put that in the policy or whether it's just practice.
I think it would help to be in policy so that the grievance know what could happen. Or what authority the board has.
Well, I don't know if we can put that in policy, because, am I wrong, John? Like, depending on what the grievance is, the remedial options might be different.
Sure, so what the remedial options are going to be governed by a whole host of things, statute, Texas Constitution, U.S. Constitution, various labor laws, and then the structure of the local government code and the education code that says what authority y'all have and don't have. I think the best remedy there would be within the script that gets read at the start of the grievance. If either side, after reading it, after the hearing officer has had a chance to read it, if either side says, can you please present us with a menu of what our options are as the board, what it is that we're allowed to do, so that you have somebody saying within these parameters you can do X, Y, and Z, whether it's you can actually reverse the decision that was made at level 2, whether it's to send it back to level 2, whether it's to say go back to level 2 and reconsider these options. But that way, each side is told ahead of time, these are the options that you have. And you can put that in script, or you could also put that in policy, whichever works. I think the most efficient way would be to put it in policy. But I think also not in policy, in the script. But also in the script, I think a good thing to do is for each side to say, have you received the documents? Are you prepared? Have you received the documents? Are you prepared? That way, there's kind of the waiver by consent that says everybody agreed on the record that you have your documents and we're good to go.
Are grievance ever told during level 1 or level 2 what the possible outcomes are?
No,
Or what-
and I'll tell you why, because that can get it can get too close to offering them legal advice. If I were to go into a room and listen to a grievance and somebody said, what options are available for me, and I gave them the menu of all the options that are available, I'm sort of acting as their legal advisor at that point. So I have to be careful, and I think administration has to be careful giving folks advice as to what they can and can't do. And it's just the nature of the grievance process that the grievant carries the burden. It's their burden to prove that the policy was violated, that administration acted in a way that violated either policy or law. So, again, that would sort of be turning the tables on what the burdens of proof are, and who's responsible for it.
Any other comments or questions on this item? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now moving to item 7C, business and operations items. Number 1, report regarding 2026 bond next steps to include the following. 1A, framework for project managers, and 1B, review of projects for professional services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, today we will be presenting an overview of the 2026 bond next steps. Mr. Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, will have a report to present, as well as Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent, and this is for information purposes only. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Ruben. Mr. Ruben Trevino.
Good evening, Board. Superintendent Gutierrez. Here we have the first slide where it shows the Model A from the previous board meeting. The Model A does consist of, if the district so chooses to go with a project management firm, that would be on the left, the $231,810,000, which comprises of all the projects listed up there. And the hybrid portion of it would be the district managed on the right-hand side, which are the HVAC upgrades, the paving improvements, roofing, LED lighting, controls, and safety access controls for a total of $103,190,000. Our next slide is an RFQ suggested timeline for project management firms. July 10th would be the first advertisement, 17th the second, the 24th would be the closing date for it. August 11th is a tentative date for board interviews. To do either interviews for top 3, top 4, top 5, different, however that is selected upon. And then August the 25th would be the board approval date for a particular firm if the district moves forward with this. Our next slides are review of projects for professional services.
Can I interrupt you before we go?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious, from the last meeting we had, it was presented to the board, and option A for 1 program manager and an in-house, and option B was 2 program managers, and I believe the board asked for like a hybrid of that for an option C. Just curious how it came about to just jump to option A.
This is, like I said, for review. Nothing is set in stone. This is more of the hybrid model comprised from both of the previous options, which you can see now more of if the district so chooses to hire a project manager in-house to do the district projects, and the project management firm doing the other projects.
Ruben, go to the option A, the model. Yeah. I know that we talked about it at having another option, because we had this Model A, which was what we've been looking at as administratively to recommend. We looked at Model B, and Model B was just to hire a project manager for the whole thing, for everything, the entire bond. We talked about a Model C as a possibility, and that was to look at the projects on the left-hand side, all of that new construction, and perhaps have 2 project managers there, and then also have an in-house project manager on the right side, the way we have it. Again, we're looking at cost, and we're looking at, that if we hired 2 project managers for all the new construction on the left-hand side, we just feel that may add more cost to project managers. And so we just decided that to keep it to 1 on each side, 1 on the new construction, because there are project managers out there that have big firms that could be able to manage all those projects on the left-hand side. And then the one on the right-hand side, those are the district managed with a hired project manager that will be part of the staff. And so we just feel that this is the one that could be more cost-effective in terms of having just 2 project managers instead of expanding it to 3.
I mean, usually fees are based on percentages of the cost of the project, so whether it's 3% of 231 or 3% of half and half, it's 3% is 3% of the total. Have we even considered or thought about breaking it up by like the the tranches that we're having. So, I mean, what if we have a really bad, I'm just trying to prevent having a bad experience and then being stuck with someone and it's only one for everything. And the disruption that we may have if we have to, in the middle of all of these projects, find somebody else. So, you know, I know our bond consultants, or Estrada Hinojosa has mentioned, you know, going out for the first tranche, and that would entail a certain amount of projects. Possibly considering a project manager or a program manager for those, and then moving forward depending on how it goes. This is not a one-year build out, and so I'm concerned that it's so many projects for one person. And then on the district side, aside from us and our admin, like, where's the oversight on those projects?
On the ones on the left-hand side?
On the right,
The
district
right side?
managed?
Yeah. That's why we thought about hiring a project manager, just to help us with those district-managed projects. What do you think, Mr. Trevino, on those, with the project manager? Because a lot of those HVAC paving improvements, they already have their own construction team.
Correct.
And it would be us to oversee those construction teams.
Yes.
What do you mean they already have their construction team?
Well, like, say, for example, if you look at LED lights, there's already some firms out there that do that kind of work.
Correct.
I can hire ABC Paving,
Or companies.
And all the projects on the right-hand side will have a professional assigned to them as well, meaning an architect or an engineer. And those are the next slides that follow this on the different groups.
Yeah, I guess we can, those are the following,
Yes.
following slides.
On this particular slide, you have the three comprehensive high schools, which are 3 build-outs on the CTE and 3 build-outs for the multipurpose building. So this is one grouping that is completely standalone buildings from the ground up, new construction. This would be one grouping. The other group on the next slide is the front entrance reconfigurations, whether they're expansions to the front entrances or new construction from the ground up. The campus refresh, which is a big one for the 3 comprehensive high schools. And then at Memorial High School, there's also some additional roofing to do and some HVAC upgrades. The HVAC upgrades that you see in green, that is, we the district own already some plans and specifications for the central utility plant for the whole high school. And that was part of the ESSER projects that we had. So therefore, we already have the plans and specifications for that particular project. That could be a standalone, not necessarily under that area, but it falls under that campus. The site paving at Rowe High School is also depicted there because it's a project for that campus, but we also have the site paving project separate on a different slide. And McAllen High School has a front entrance and the campus refresh. The next slide is a group of the campus or expansion of the classroom wings. We have Milam, Gonzalez, and Morris. At Milam, we're also doing the cafeteria modernization. At Gonzalez, it's the expansion of the classrooms. Morris, classrooms with the cafeteria modernization. The front entrance, the roof replacement, and the HVAC upgrades. I think I mentioned in the previous meeting that Morris was a good example of having one design team working on those particular projects because they all kind of mesh together, and it makes sense to have one team working on it and not someone working on one particular area and another working on a different one. A next slide is the rest of the projects that will require an architect, which are the cafeteria expansions and modernizations at Alvarez and Seguin, the De Leon front entrance, and the gym enclosures as well. You'll see site paving and HVAC upgrades on Seguin, Alvarez, and De Leon because those particular projects pertain to those campuses as they were presented prior to the bond, when the bond was being marketed out there, but they can also be included on the next slides that are coming up. We have the
I
site
do have a
paving.
question on, can we go back to the slide, just use that example? And I think you and I discussed this earlier, Ruben. For example, Seguin, Alvarez, and De Leon have site paving or HVAC upgrades. Like, why is, those are all in the district managed bucket, so we're going to pay somebody a salary to oversee that. Yet now we're going to pay an architect fees. Why do we need an architect for site paving or HVAC upgrades?
An example would be, let's say Seguin. Seguin, you see site paving there because we're expanding on that cafeteria area. That cafeteria area will require delivery drives for your milk trucks at 4 o'clock in the morning that go in and out, your trash trucks from the city that go in and out. You also have daily deliveries to the cafeteria from our CMP staff. So it does involve some reconfiguration of the area, the site, the paving, the drives. So it almost makes more sense to put it all under one scope, under one contractor, and not have someone just doing the paving portion of it and have someone else just working on the building expansion part of it.
If those projects are district managed, well, at least the site paving HVAC, are we also going to pay the other project manager?
No.
And then the architect works with both? Or
The
how does that
architect
work?
would, everything would be under their scope, yes. Only one scope,
Under the architect's.
under the architect's scope, correct.
And does this architect, do we need the architect in addition to the project manager? Or is it just the architect? The project manager doesn't oversee these
On
projects?
some of these projects, it would be up to the district to decide that,
And then are you
at that time.
Are you gonna need a civil engineer after that?
In that particular explanation that I'm giving, all of the different disciplines will go under the architect's scope,
So they'll be contracted by the architect?
yes. And their design team. On the other projects or the other slides that came up right now, like the site paving, those are campuses that only have the paving on its own. That only makes sense to go with a civil engineer to oversee those projects.
So when you hire a project manager, they kind of help with the fee schedules to make sure engineers or architects aren't charging crazy different percentage amounts. And if we're managing that in-house, how do we control that?
As far as project
The
management,
fees that the architects or the civil engineers are gonna charge us for the in-house projects?
for the in-house projects. That, you do have the work authorizations once the professional services are selected by the board.
Or
And
we
they,
set it up front before it even goes out?
and they submit that, and then we enter negotiations into that when the projects are assigned by the board.
Why wouldn't we want to set that before it goes out and they know this is what we're paying? I mean, this is the only bond in town. If they want the work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, like I said, we need to get to the area of whether we're gonna hire a bond project firm to oversee some of the projects. And some of the in-house projects, we've been overseeing those, for the last 10 years, in-house. On the re-roofs, these are the campuses that do require the re-roofing projects for a structural engineer, and only roofs at this particular campus. The next slide is mechanical HVAC upgrades, which will require a mechanical MEP engineer on the project to do the oversight and the design specs. And then the last slide is the LED upgrades with the safety upgrades and the HVAC controls. Will also require oversight by a mechanical engineer.
I have a few more questions on this section. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. I know we looked at the job description for the in-house project manager last week. That was before we had this proposal, so I need to go back to that. That job description has that role reporting to you. How many hours a week do you think it will take to effectively manage the in-house project manager to deliver on these 103, I'm forgetting the number,
Hours a
$1
week,
million of
hours a
projects?
week from my
if you're managing the role, how many hours a week do you think it'll take you to manage that position effectively?
I mean,
It's a lot of work.
as many as it takes, you know, I mean, that's what we've done.
Can you clarify that? How many project managers have you managed?
In the past,
Yeah.
in my previous job, we've had one project manager oversee two different bond projects, two different construction bond projects.
Got it, and how many hours a week?
In-house.
On average?
The bond project manager is full-time, just doing that, 100%.
Sure.
And then the oversight from admin can range from, I'm gonna say maybe 50% of the time, because you're attending meetings, you're
Yep.
looking at different designs, you're looking at options, you're looking at pricing, you know, overseeing everything.
Yeah, and I think I'm just trying to wrap my head around capacity, right? Like, you have a full-time job, you're already doing lots of stuff. I'm trying to forecast what happens when 50% of your time is now on bond projects that was previously dedicated to other critical needs across the district. How have you made sense of that?
I mean, in our jobs, we do what it takes, you know, and sometimes it's not just 40 hours. Sometimes it's working past that. We've got contractors, we've got calls at different times of the day. Contractors work over on weekends. They're on a schedule, and then they have to meet the schedule. So sometimes it requires more than your ordinary schedule, you know. But we've done it.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you. On the projects that are listed on the right-hand column in Project Model A, are there any of those that are outside of your scope of experience?
No, sir. We've done pretty much all of those previously.
Yep.
We've done all of the safety access controls. We've done, you know, some of the LED lighting upgrades from T12s to T8s, from T8s to LED. We've done many roofing projects. We've done paving. We've got the replacement schedule for that, and we've also done HVAC upgrades.
Great, thank you. And in terms of scale, total amount of projects, total amount of value? What's comparable in your background and experience in terms of those other bond projects you managed?
All of those are within.
Within that? Thank you. I have a couple other thoughts on the RFQ. I don't know how we structure those, but I have some thoughts on going out for the external project manager. So a couple things come to mind. And again, if this is not the place to include those, then we should put a pin in it and try to come back to it later. I would love to see something somewhere that says, you know, the expectation is 90% on time and 90% on budget, which basically means if you start to go over on time, you got to come under on budget, or vice versa. I would love to see a world where there are set expectations for the frequency of engagement between the project manager and the administrative team. I don't know, it's probably not weekly. Monthly sounds about right, quarterly. This is all new for me, but setting expectations on the front end. And then I would also love us to consider a world where meetings and regular progress updates are a part of the contract and a part of the expectation, not only to administration, but also to the community. And maybe that's routed through the Bond Oversight Committee. And then the last thing is, I would love to see a world where those meetings and those reports are not considered billable hours, but those are considered a part of the overall project.
I also see that as we are briefing the board and everyone on these projects, that maybe sometimes we should just have a special call board meetings just for that and not mix them with our regular board meetings, since there's always going to be questions and a lot of detail on projects and cost and statuses of projects, that maybe some meetings should be just for the bond updates and not put it in the regular meetings, so that we could have a lengthy discussion and deep discussions of the projects and the status of those projects.
Yeah, I'd welcome that.
And then, Dr. G, given the size of the bond, the importance to the community, I think it's paramount, whether it's in-house or the outside consultant, have a direct line of reporting to you as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lorena, you had a?
Yes, the next section is essentially the bylaws or a charter, if you will, for a bond oversight committee. We developed this sample. It's based on the information that was sent to you earlier, where when you were recruiting names for nomination, it talks about the purpose and the charge for the committee. Also, you know, what they will be doing, they would be reporting to the board, solely to the board. It would talk about their duties, which would be accountability, also some site visits, reporting. It talks about the structure of the committee. And there's the terms. We talked about that previously in a prior workshop. The membership criteria as well was something that was mentioned earlier. And then there's an ethics policy with conflict of interest criteria. One new thing that we added is employment, that by no means would any conflict relating to future promises or promises of employment or financial gain from a committee member would come into play. And this is a draft, and we can certainly edit it if you have any changes, but I know it's the first time you looking at that. So we can make additions if you have comments on that.
Madam President and Board of Trustees, is it okay if you can give us some, you know, you have a copy of it, and then just give us a feedback on any editing you'd like for us to do, and perhaps send it to us by the end of this week, and that way we can bring you a final draft at the next meeting on the 23rd? Would that be okay, to give us editing feedback?
It would. I have one now to save me an email, which is under the conflict of interest. I'd love for number 3 to be edited in such a way that no immediate family member of a member of the oversight committee can bid on any bond projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Also, just maybe point of clarification in the charter. I don't think any vendors should be appointed to the oversight committee. But I want to make a distinction between vendors related to the bond and maybe vendors that sell the district paper or something to that effect.
Like distinguish who's a vendor?
Right, yeah. If it's related to the bond, no. Otherwise, I mean.
So if you're a vendor and you're on this oversight committee, you're prohibited from seeking a contract?
I think related to the bond.
Right.
Because, I mean, if somebody sells T-shirts to the district and they have relevant experience, why should they be prohibited? Right,
right.
That's what I'm saying.
They just won't be able
I'm assuming we have, I don't know our full vendor list, but we have a lot of local businesses.
I also think a definition as to what we consider a vendor. Does an employee of a vendor qualify to be on the oversight committee? Which in my opinion shouldn't, but.
Well, then just use the 10% rule. 10% of your income is coming from it. You have a conflict for that, right?
And one last item for consideration is, I know the current charter prohibits employees of the district from being on the oversight committee. I would like us to consider a 15th board member, oversight committee member appointed by the JPCC. I've gotten some feedback that teachers are left out or do not have the ability to provide feedback. So that's just some for consideration if we want to do that or not.
We're fine with that. I mean, if that's, we can, Dr. Canales oversees the JPCC and this cabinet. We can ask to do a nomination, and if that's okay with the board, and have that 15th committee member.
It's good with me.
I like the idea.
Okay. So then, look at it and you give us feedback by the end of the week. I mean, we're taking notes on all the feedback you're giving us now, but if there's any additional feedback you'd like to give us, if we could have it by the end of the week and then bring you a final draft for the 23rd of June at our next board meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, I think that takes us to item 7C2, report regarding intention to apply for the Employment and Training Administration of the United States Department of Labor Innovative Approaches to Literacy Program grant on behalf of the United States Department of Education. Dr. Gutierrez.
The Innovative Approaches to Literacy Program supports high-quality programs designed to develop and improve literacy skills for children and students from birth through 12th grades in high-needed local educational agencies and schools. Ms. Laura Williams, our Director for Purchasing Services, is available to answer any questions or have a presentation, and this is for information purposes only. Ms. Williams?
Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, Madam President, and Board of Trustees. I am here to present a brief presentation on our intent to apply for the ILA program grant, aka Innovative Approaches to Literacy, and then the highlights. We will apply by June 9th. The estimated program funding for this grant for the 25 to 35 approximate wards is $16.8 million. As a district, we will be applying for approximately $3.5 million over a 60-month, 5-year time span term of the grant. If awarded, we will utilize the grant funds for a mobile literacy bus, a new innovative author mentor program for our STRIDES program, and learning labs across our campuses, as well as updating our libraries with the necessary books, professional development for our librarians, and then other up-to-date materials. So we're hopeful that by August, September, we should know whether we receive this grant.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Williams.
Okay, item 7C3, discussion and possible action on 2025-2026 low attendance waiver days. Dr. Gutierrez.
Due to the weather events back in January 26th and 27th of 2026, the district experienced low attendance. The district needs to submit a low attendance day waiver to the Texas Education Agency to prevent loss of funding. Ms. Angela Allen, our Director of Student Operations, is able to answer any questions. Administration is recommending action on this item so that we can submit to TA a waiver for those 2 days due to inclement weather.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Peña and a second by Trustee Guevara. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 7-0. Item 7C4, discussion and possible action on the optional flexible school day program application for the 2026-2027 school year. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, we're also recommending the approval of the optional flexible school day program application for the 26-27 school year. Ms. Lisa Cavazos, our Director for Student Outreach Program, will present additional information. We are recommending action on this item since it is required for the board to approve in order for us to implement the optional flexible school day program for students to make up attendance and so be able to recapture some of the wages or funding that we lose because of students' absences, and this is a way to make up those absences and be able to get those additional funds that the district can utilize.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, Madam President and Board of Trustees. So I'm here to present some information on the optional flexible school day program. We call it FLEX here at McAllen ISD. And just to kind of give you an overview of what this program is in case you are not familiar, everything you need to know about optional flexible school day is really in the title of the program. So optional, first and foremost, parents must consent to a student participating in this program. So the consent form for this current school year has been embedded in registration to allow for just easier access for parents and facilitate enrollment when the students need it, just a little easier. Flexible, this program provides flexibility in how student attendance is tracked and reported. So whereas typical ADA is tracked by an official attendance taking time, optional flexible school day tracks the minutes that students are present on campus. And so particularly for students who have challenges around participating in a traditional school day the way most kids do. This flexibility allows students to accumulate minutes overall of the time they spend on campus and really prevents loss of credit and potential retention for the younger grade levels due to a lack of attendance. The school day part of it is really important, and it's unique in McAllen ISD because the student school day does not change. We're not enrolling students into a special campus or a special program. We're just introducing flexibility again in how we take attendance. And the spirit of this program is really to prevent the loss of credit and prevent retention and dropout for students for whom which attendance puts them at risk. Want to just go over a little bit of the 2025-2026 highlights of optional flexible school day. When you look at the students who are enrolled, and at max enrollment, we were just over 3,606 students. About 53% of those were elementary students, 46% of those were secondary students, 6th through 12th grade. Pretty even split between male and female students. This is interesting. In-district students, so students who are zoned to McAllen ISD and attending a McAllen ISD school, made up 90% of our flex students, and out-of-district students, just under 10%. At-risk students was very high, 98.1, and mostly because that is a criteria for eligibility for this program. And then 30.7% of the students were participants in special education services. So when you look at our average daily attendance, and my chart cut off there a little bit, the formatting didn't copy over, but the average daily attendance of a flex student prior to being enrolled in the flex program was just over 87%. So significantly below the 90% threshold. Again, this is an average, so some students were way below that, a few were higher. And once you put them on flex, if you were to look at ADA, of course, they are not on ADA anymore, but if you calculated an equivalent ADA for the minutes that they spend on campus, we're looking at 133% attendance, which of course, we cannot claim more than one ADA per student, but it gives you an idea of the impact of the program and this method of tracking attendance for students. Prior to the FLEX program being implemented this year, 1,461 students were below 90% in attendance, and since enrolling in FLEX, that number has been reduced to 431. So some of those students were put on before the 90% percentile or 90% attendance was hit as a preventative measure, and of those 1,000 of the 1,461 were able to recover those minutes to no longer be under the 90%. So I think that's incredibly significant and makes this a really powerful program. For 26-27, the application for the next school year is ready to be submitted, but as Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, it does require board approval to submit the application. Students can be placed on OFSDP anytime during the school year. However, eligible students should only be enrolled as soon as the first grading period. We have a list of students already that we have compiled in collaboration with our truancy officers and our campus attendance administrators that have already met criteria, right, and who we plan to enroll into the program, of course, with parent consent as early as the third week of school, again, to prevent truancy before it becomes an issue and a challenge for them earning credit for their classes. Consent forms, as I mentioned, have been integrated into the registration process, but for any of those students whom we want to recommend for the program that don't have the consent form completed in registration, we'll spend some summertime closing that gap so that they're ready to go for the new school year. And our real focus this year is going to be toward prevention rather than recovery. So eligibility criteria, just to go over it quickly, students need to be at risk so that this current school year implemented more than 10 days absent makes them at risk or qualifies them to be at risk. 10% of days absent within a 30-day instructional period. So now we're looking at grading periods. 3 days absent within any grading period could qualify them for this program, or just more than 18 absences overall. Also, every single student at Achieve Early College is eligible for this program, and that is because their kind of joint classes between the campus, Achieve campus and STC campus doesn't always allow them to be on campus during official attendance taking time, so this allows some flexibility in their scheduling where if there's a class at 10 o'clock at STC, they can be there without the risk of losing credit for attendance for that day. And I'll answer any questions that the board has.
Anybody have any questions? This item is for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Peña and a second by trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Cavazos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Costas.
Item 7C5, discussion and possible action on request for offers number 2026-1036, sale of used technology equipment. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, we are requesting administration offers for sale of used technology equipment. Mr. Domingo Ramos, our Director of Technology, is available to answer any questions. We're recommending action on this item. If you have any questions, Mr. Domingo Ramos is here to answer any questions on the sale of this technology equipment.
Does the board have any questions? If not, this is for action.
Madam President, I move to approve the offers received for request for offers number 2026-1036, sale of used technology and equipment, and motion to authorize administration to begin negotiations with the highest offer. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory agreement, the district shall formally and in writing terminate negotiations with that offer and proceed to negotiate with the next highest offer in the order of selection until an agreement is reached for all is reached or all offers are rejected.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by
Second.
trustee Peña. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7D, Board of Trustees item number 1, discussion and possible action of approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. And this is for action.
Move to approve.
I have a motion
Second.
by trustee Peña and a second by trustee Rivera. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 8, recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. A, discussion of human resources recommendations for school year 25-26. B, discussion of human resources recommendations for school year 26-27. 8C, discussion of human resources employee resignations and retirees for school year 2025-2026. 8D, discussion of recommendation of the Executive Director of Technology Department for the 2025-2026 school year. 8E, discussion regarding school safety and security. F, pending and/or potential litigation. And 8G, potential real estate acquisition. And with that, at 7:09 p.m., we are in closed. It is 8:16 PM, and we are reconvened in open session on number 9. Now, going to item number 10, action on items in closed session 10A, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for the school year 2025-2026. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Human Resources submitted a list of recommendations for the 25-26 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. We recommend an action on this item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Guardiola, second by trustee Rivera. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item number 10B, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for the school year 2026-2027. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted also a list of recommendations for the 26-27 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. We're recommending action on this item as well.
Move to approve.
Motion by trustee Rivera, second by trustee Peña. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 10C, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for the school year 2025-2026.
Human Resources also submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 25-26 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session, and this is an information item only.
Item 10D, discussion and possible action on the recommendation of the Executive Director of the Technology Department for the 2025-2026 school year. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is recommending the approval of Mr. Domingo Ramos for the Executive Director for Technology Department, and administration is recommending action on this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Trustee Rivera with a motion and trustee Peña second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Mr. Ramos.
Congratulations, Mr. Ramos.
That takes us to item 10E, discussion regarding school safety and security. 10F, pending and/or potential litigation.
Same announcement.
And 10G, possible real estate acquisition.
Same announcement.
Item number 11, scheduled meetings. 11A, school safety and security meeting, committee meeting, June 9th, 2026 at 12 p.m. in the Administration Building, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. 11B, regular board meeting, June 9th, that will be changed to June 23rd, 2026 at 5:30 in the Administration Room, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. 10C, Board Workshop on Budget Workshop number 6 will be June the 17th, 2026 at 5:30 here in the Administration Building, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. And 11D, regular board meeting, well, I just said that, regular board meeting June 23rd, 2026 at 5:30. And that brings us to item number 12 for adjournment. Is there a motion? Trustee Peña with the motion and trustee Rivera with the second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0, and happy birthday, trustee Kittleman. Trustee Dr. Hill.
Happy birthday.
I got frosty.